Welcome to Mr. Yang's classroom. Hey class, in this lesson we're going to be solving quadratic equations for x by factoring. There will be 4 example questions, each of them using the Xbox method. So in our first example question, we have x squared plus 2x minus 35 is equal to 0. Notice how the entire left side is equal to 0. We're going to need that in order to correctly classify our a term, which is followed by the x squared, our b term, which is followed by the x, and the c term, which is the number term. In this case, x squared is our a term, positive 2x is our b term, and negative 35 is our c term. So in our box right here, we're going to place our a term, which in this case is x squared. And down here, we're going to place our c term, which in this case is negative 35. Now, on the top part of our x here, we're going to place our a term times our c term. In that case, it's negative 35 times x squared, which will end up to be negative 35x squared. And down here, we're going to place our b term, which in this case is 2x. Next, we're going to have to find two terms that are going to have to multiply to get negative 35x squared, but add to be positive 2x. So let's take a look at this negative 35. We can get 1 times 35, or we can get 5 times 7. And just looking at this, we know that 5 and 7 will probably work for the 2. So we'll place a 5x here and a 7x here. And notice how because this is negative, one of these terms have to be negative. But we want to have these two add together to get positive 2x. So we're going to place our negative right here. Negative 5x times 7x should be negative 35x squared, and negative 5x plus 7x should be 2x. So we're going to place these two terms, negative 5x and our 7x right here. Next, and the last step, is to solve for the outside of this box, and in this case, x times x is x squared. Now, x times what is equal to negative 5x? That's right, it's negative 5. X times what is equal to 7x? Should be positive 7. Now that we have this entire left side of our equation factored out, we can write it out like so. X minus 5 times x plus 7 is equal to 0. So we basically factored this entire left side down to this. Now, using the zero product property, we know that any term multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. So we know that this term can equal 0, or this term can equal 0. We can write it like so. X minus 5 is equal to 0, as well as x plus 7 is equal to 0. To solve for x, we're going to add 5 to both sides, and in this case, we're going to subtract 7 to both sides, leaving us with x is equal to 5, as well as x is equal to negative 7. In this second equation, we have x squared plus 11x plus 15 is equal to 3x. Notice how it's not equal to 0, so we're going to have to move this 3x term to the left side. So I'm going to subtract 3x to both sides, leaving us with x squared, 11x minus 3x should equal positive 8x, plus 15 is equal to 0. Now we have our a term, our b term, and our c term is equal to 0. So let's first place our a term, which is x squared, this top left corner. Our c term, which is positive 15 in the bottom right corner. In the top part of our x, we're going to do a times our c, so it's 15 times x squared, leaving us with 15x squared. And on the bottom, we're going to place our 8x, our b term. Now we're going to have to find two terms that multiply to be 15x squared that add to be 8x. So we'll get 1 times 15 and maybe 3 times 5. And right off the bat, I see that 3 times 5 is working. So we'll place a 3x here, and a 5x here. 3x times 5x should equal 15x squared, and 3x plus 5x should equal 8x. So we'll place those terms right here, 3x and 5x. Next, let's get the outside. X times x should equal x squared. X times what should equal 3x? That's right, it's plus 3. And x times what is equal to 5x? Should be plus 5. And 5 times 3 should equal 15. So let's completely write the left side factored out. X plus 3 times x plus 5 is equal to 0. And again, using the zero product property, we know that this x plus 3 can equal 0, as well as x plus 5 also equaling 0. So to solve, let's subtract 3 to both sides. And to solve, we'll subtract 5 to both sides, leaving us with x is equal to negative 3, as well as x is equal to negative 5. In this third example, we have 9x squared minus 13x plus 8 is equal to 3x squared plus 2. Again, this does not equal 0, so we're going to have to move these terms over to the left side. So to get rid of this 3x squared, we're going to subtract 3x squared from the x squared term here. And we're going to subtract this positive 2 from this number term here. So this will cancel out and this will cancel out, leaving us with 0 on the right side. 9x squared minus 3x squared should equal 6x squared. Minus 13x comes down, and 8 minus 2 should equal plus 6. Now we have it all equal to 0, so we can commence with our Xbox method. So up top we have our 6x squared, and on the bottom right we have our C term, which is 6. Now up top here we have our A term times our C term, so 6x squared times positive 6 should give us 36x squared. And on the bottom here we should have our B term, which is negative 13x. Now two terms that multiply to get 36x squared and add to get negative 13x. Let's give it a try. We have 1 times 36 equals 36. 2 times 18 equals 36. Let's see, 3 times 12 equals 36. 4 times 9 equals 36. And I see a winner. 4 times 9 equals 36. So let's put 4x and 9x here. I can see that 9 and 4 add to be 13, but we need it to be negative 13x. Thankfully, we have a positive 36 here. So if we place a negative term here and a negative term here, two negatives multiplied would get a positive. 9 times 4 is 36. X times x is x squared. And minus 4x times negative 9x, or plus negative 9x, should be negative 13x. So we can fill in the rest of our box here. Minus 4x and minus 9x. Now, let's look at this row here and see what is the greatest common factor that goes into both 6x squared and negative 9x. I believe 3 goes evenly into 6 and 9. So we'll place this 3 there. And an x, because x is the biggest term that goes into x squared and x. Now 3x times what is equal to 6x squared? That's right, it should be 2x. Now 2x times what equals negative 4x? Should be minus 2. And 3x times what should equal negative 9x? That's right, it should be negative 3. And does negative 3 times negative 2 equal positive 6? Yes, it does. So let's place our factored term 3x minus 2 from here, and our 2x minus 3 from there, and set that equal to 0. Okay, so again, with the zero product property, we know that 3x minus 2 is equal to 0, as well as 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. And let's go ahead and solve for 0. We're going to first move that number term to the other side by adding 3 and this one adding 2, leaving us with 3x is equal to 2 and 2x is equal to 3. Now next we're going to divide both terms by 3 on this one and divide both terms by 2 on this one. Canceling out the 3's, we have x is equal to 2 over 3. And then we also have x is equal to 3 over 2. Two answers. Finally, we have our last example question. 3x squared minus 18x minus 9 is equal to negative 2x plus 3. Let's go ahead and add the 2x to both sides and subtract the 3 to both sides. This gets our right side of our equation to equal 0. And let's rewrite the left side. 3x squared, negative 18x plus 2x should equal negative 16x. And negative 9 minus 3 should be negative 12. So now we have our equation here. So our a term will be 3x squared. Our c term will be negative 12. Our a times our c, which is our negative 12 times our 3x squared, should equal negative 36x squared. And our b term is our negative 16x from here. So again, two terms that multiply to be negative 36x squared that add to be negative 16x. So let's try it. 1 times 36, 2 times 18. Does that work? Yeah, it does actually. So 2 times 18, we'll have a 2x here and an 18x here. And we're going to want it to add to be negative 16. So we'll place a negative right here. And because negative 18x times positive 2x equals negative 36x squared, it works out. So let's place our terms here, 2x and negative 18x. So let's take a look at this row. The greatest common factor that goes into both 3x squared and negative 18x. I know numerically 3 goes into both terms and x goes into both terms. So 3x times what is equal to 3x squared? That's right, it's an x. And x times what is equal to 2x? That's right, it's plus 2. 3x times what is equal to negative 18x? That should be negative 6. And does negative 6 times positive 2 equal negative 12? Yes, it does. So we have the left side of our equation completely factored. 3x plus 2 times x minus 6 is equal to 0. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and solve using the zero product property. 3x plus 2 is equal to 0, and x minus 6 is equal to 0. We'll subtract 2 to both sides, add 6 to both sides in this one, leaving us on this side with 3x is equal to negative 2. And on this one, we have x is equal to 6. On this side, we're going to divide both sides by 3, leaving us with x is equal to negative 2 over 3 after the 3's cancel. And then on this side, we have x is equal to 6. So here are two answers for this one. Thanks for watching.